Greetings. This is Justin Allen, the Elite Nurse Practitioner. Welcome to the Elite Nurse Practitioner Show, a podcast dedicated to nurse practitioner entrepreneurism and achieving financial freedom, where I talk directly with nurse practitioners who need help. Listen up, our market is saturated. Jobs can be scarce. We are underpaid. We are undervalued. We are taken advantage of by the sharks within the healthcare system, and frankly, screw that. Sick of it, and it's time for a change. And listen, I'm here to help make that happen. We are powerful. We can forge a path where we are in control of our career and ultimately our financial and personal well-being. You do not need to submit to healthcare administrators and your doctor overlords. You do not have to take the measly salary. You do not have to work 50 to 60 hours a week. There is a different way, and I'm here to show you that path. This podcast is raw and unfiltered. I have not talked to the nurse practitioners in this podcast prior to the call outside of an email exchange to schedule the episode. What you're about to listen to is a consultation session between a nurse practitioner and myself. It is real, it is unscripted, it is unplanned, and I have no idea what we're going to talk about. Anything and everything can happen during our conversation. The nurse practitioners in these episodes are struggling with an issue in their professional or financial life, and they have reached out to me for help. My goal is to help the nurse practitioner with actionable advice that will enhance and improve their professional, business, and financial life. My other goal is to hopefully help my nurse practitioner sisters and brothers build a more productive, powerful, and free life. So I hope the content and information within these podcast episodes does just that. All right, onto the episode. Hello, everyone. Today we'll be talking to Amanda, who is a family nurse practitioner. Currently, she is self-employed, running her own family practice. She also started a med spa, which is a DBA underneath her family practice. She is needing assistance transitioning her traditional family practice to a direct primary care practice and everything that would entail. Additionally, she is needing help with her failing med spa. Hey, Amanda, how are you?
I'm good, Justin. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on here. So I appreciate you taking the time. So let's jump right into this. So tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of how you got started in your own little family practice, how you've been a nurse practitioner and all that stuff.
Sure. So I graduated from University of Missouri, St. Louis 20 years ago, actually, this year, and worked out in family practice world for about 4 years and decided to open my own family practice in an area that had absolutely no family medicine at all. So now my clinic is 16 years old, and I'm still the only family practice in the town that is one of the fastest growing suburbs in Tennessee. So that's exciting. About a year ago, I opened up an aesthetics side, and we do a med spa, but I'm the only one that knows how to do Botox and dermal fillers. So having to go back and forth between seeing patients on my traditional medicine side and seeing Botox and dermal filler patients is creating problems for me on the aesthetic side.
Wow. Okay. So let me understand this real quick. So you've been operating this family practice of yours solo for over a decade?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
16 years.
16 years. Wow. Okay. So I'm assuming you have staff and all that stuff, but you're the only provider.
No, I do have another provider, and sometimes I've had a part-time provider, but currently I only have one other full-time provider besides myself.
Okay, gotcha. So this is a traditional insurance accepting family practice.
Yes.
Okay. So before we go into any other details, how much revenue are you guys generating a year, if you don't mind sharing?
Well, I would say my best year, my gross net was $750,000.
Okay.
That was my gross net. I really don't know what my profit was because that is usually a very low number. 30,000, 40,000. Sometimes it's in the negatives. In the last couple of years, I've been in the negative for my profit.
Why? Any idea?
Well, about a year ago, I had to let go of a manager that had mismanaged funds. And in addition, she was not paying all my vendors basically. And so I'm over $200,000 in debt to vendors that are 90 plus days past due. Patients that were not paying their balances, she was writing them off. And so they were never held accountable for balances. things like that. It's just and I took out a $150,000 construction loan for the aesthetic side because I was not aware of all this debt that I had incurred. And now I have a $150,000 building loan that I'm currently only paying the interest on because I can't actually make a payment on it yet.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's why I'm changing to DPC because I'm seeing now about 20 to 23 patients. I can't really handle more than 23 or I really get overwhelmed. So I'm seeing that many patients a day. My other nurse practitioner is overwhelmed past about 14. So I don't make her see so many just so, she doesn't leave. And the amount that we're billing is not the amount that is going out. So it's constantly about 12 to 15,000 less that we're making right now than what I'm owing in all of my liabilities.
So basically, you would be making a profit if this manager didn't totally screw you over and you didn't have all these debts.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see how you couldn't. I mean, even an insurance accepting primary care practice, I mean, if you're seeing 30 plus patients, a day, I mean, you should still be, generating, I would imagine, what, $3,000, $4,000 a day in revenue?
I would think so. And not to mention, I opened up the whole aesthetic side to have that side hustle to bring in more income. And I do have an esthetician over there and she's doing the best she can, but we're having to use every single dime that she's bringing in right now to satisfy these vendors because, they're threatening to send me to collections. And thank goodness none of them have sent me to collections yet. But I mean, they're knocking at the door, they're making the threats. And so it's just turned out to be a complete
Yeah.
debacle.
I mean, you don't have to name specific vendors, but like what kind of vendors are we talking about here?
Well, Path Group is my lab. I owe them $68,000. Henry Schein, I owe them about 10,000. I think I just paid off McKesson, so we can eliminate that one. Phone vendors and phone system vendors and all kinds of other things. I can't think of them all right now, but they're just little bitty people that at the end of the day, oh, my marketing company, I owe them like $6,000. My IT company, I owe them $7,800.
Right.
And
So
this
it's
is
just,
after I've been paying for the last year.
well, okay, think about it on this. I'm going to try to just, bring at least a little positive light to this if it's even possible. You would have had to been paying these people anyways, over the past couple years or whatever. So like, even if you were paying them, would you have been making a profit if that would have been spread out? Because you still incurred these fees and you still incurred these expenses, but now it's just all stacked up versus paying them off on a monthly basis. So, 2 years ago, 3 years ago or whatever, when these bills were coming in, if you were paying those, would you have been making your profit?
So the way I look at it is if I had kept the current contracts and the stipulations that I had with each one of these vendors, then no, I still probably wouldn't have been able to pay them. But had I known that, this vendor was charging this amount or whatever, I feel like if I had a decent enough manager that was financially savvy that could really look into, hey, we're wasting money on this vendor. We don't really need them. Let's find a different avenue in order to make this happen. The whole reason my Path Group liability was so high was because she told me that if I changed it to a client bill instead of just patient bill to where, let the lab charge their insurance and everything, and I changed it to a client bill, then the lab would just charge us, the $2 or the $5 or whatever it was for the lab prices. And then we would just pay the lab back. The only problem is she never paid the lab back. She didn't pay the lab for a year. So yes, I could have made money if we had kept up with this system of I'm making the $20 outside of the client bill price, but it didn't work out that way because the patient never got billed for the lab in the first place.
Yeah. Okay.
So I just I just took over all the cost of everybody's labs for like 3 years.
Right. Jeez.
But I didn't
Okay.
know that was going on because I'm seeing 20 patients a day. So
Right.
when you own a practice and you have a manager, like you really have to, you don't have time to micromanage it when you're seeing that many patients because I'm spending hours after work charting and
Right.
doing all kinds of stuff and just running my other employees in the ground to make sure we stay as current as possible so that my reputation doesn't start becoming affected by all the chaos.
Right. Okay. Well, what's happened in the past has happened in the past, right? Lesson learned.
Right.
You'll make sure that never happens again, right? Hopefully, people listening to this will hear your story and make sure that, stay on top of your manager, stay on top of these people that you
Yeah.
put in charge for paying bills and shit, Like
Yeah.
when you hand over your business's financial well-being to someone else, you as the business owner, you better stay on top of it. You better be monitoring it. You better be auditing it. Because if not, this scenario right here could happen. And listen, you're not the only one I've heard this from, Amanda. I think we've had some other episodes too where this similar thing has happened. I've talked to NPs before, private consultations. This has happened. Like this happens not more times than not, but it happens very often. So
Yes.
yeah. Anyways, okay. Well, regardless, like I said, it was, it happened in the past. So it is what it is. I guess my question, before we start talking about how we're going to transition this over to like a DPC cash-based model, my question though is, can this be profitable? I mean, you're already credentialed. You already know the insurance process. You already know how to do this. Like, can this be a leaner business? So you're keeping more of the insurance billings and keeping more revenue, keeping more of the profit. Like, is there a way that we can make this leaner or streamline this? I feel like that, if you're bringing in $3,000 or $4,000 in billings a day, I mean, you should be bringing in easily $60,000 a month in revenue. So
Oh,
why?
yeah. That's not happening. We average
Why?
about 40. I don't know. I have a billing agency now that does a really good job of like giving me monthly reports and things to see how much I'm billing and what am I getting reimbursed and how much do I have out there in AR. And we are consistently bringing in like $37,000 to $45,000 a month. And I'm just thinking, I can't.
How? Like if you're seeing 30 plus patients a day, I mean, how much are
No,
you
I'm
averaging
seeing 20. Well, between
between
me
you
and
two?
my
Right.
other. Yeah.
Right. Between you guys are seeing 30 plus patients a
Dude,
day.
I
Like,
don't know.
what's your average billing? I'm thinking to myself, average here for a level 4 visit, which you should be billing on almost everybody.
Everybody. Yeah.
Everyone should be billing at least a level 4 on almost everybody. I mean, the
Yeah.
reimbursement for this should be between 80 to $120, depending on what
Oh,
insurance
hell
company it is.
no. Hell no. I'm averaging
Oh,
$60 and yeah. Yeah,
gee.
that's what I'm averaging
Oh,
per
my.
patient. 992 and 4 on just about everybody. Even if they just come in for like one problem, I'm like stretching it. 992 and 4, I may do a sinus cocktail, might get a venipuncture,
Oh, my.
but
Wow.
overall, $60 is what I'm averaging.
Okay. Yeah.
And I see no Medicaid, and I keep my Medicare patients at less than 20% of my overall
So
clientele.
you're only getting reimbursed $60 for a lot of these private insurance. Like,
That's what I'm averaging. Yes.
my Lord. And this is something that can't be renegotiated, your fee schedule or something. Like, that's
According to my billing people, if we renegotiate, then they said it could be worse. But I'm like, how can it be worse? Because in 2007, I am literally getting the exact same reimbursement as now. Like in 2007, I was making a 6-figure income. In
right.
2022, I paid myself $50,000.
Okay. Yeah.
50. I
Yeah.
can't survive on that. I haven't paid any of my bills except maybe my house note and
Right.
my electric bill and all that, but
Okay.
it's slim.
Okay. Well, listen, you are going to, I mean, all right. All right.
Help
So,
me, Justin. Oh my God, will
yeah.
you just buy the clinic and take it over?
Yeah. No, thanks. I wouldn't touch an insurance except in primary care practice with a 10-foot pole. Hell
Amen,
no.
brother.
Yeah,
Amen.
no, I'd rather do a medical cannabis evaluation that takes me 10 minutes and make $60. Like, no, cash, you know what I mean? So let's see here. I think that your insurance credentialer, biller, or whatever, and they might have a good point. It could be worse. I doubt that. I mean, I don't see how it could be. I think step number one here, before you decide to do a complete remake of your practice, I think the first thing you need to do is either find another medical biller or credentialer who's going to be a little bit more aggressive here, and you renegotiate this stuff immediately. And if they say no, or they say it's going to be lower, then you tell them to take a fucking hike, right?
Well, I'm in a 2-year contract with the billing agency I currently have.
Okay, well then
And
you tell them they work for you, not the other way around. Okay, you tell them this is what it's going to be. Okay, and
yeah.
if the insurance company says no or whatever, you just basically mark it off. Those patients now, listen, I'm sorry, I don't accept your insurance anymore. If you still want care from us, this is the new model. And then that's when you present the DPC model to them. So
Well,
you
are
slowly
you going to
transition.
be upset then if I tell you that I've already got my whole website ready to go and
Fine.
a letter to send to my patients on February the 1st that I'm switching already to DPC?
Well, that's fine, but I'm just letting you know, when you switch to DPC, you're going to lose patients. I wouldn't be surprised if you lose half of them. Okay. You're just going to. People want to use their insurance. They're paying for it through their employer, whatever. It's valuable to them and they want to use it. If they can't use it, they're going to go somewhere else. Okay. Just accept that fact. I wouldn't be surprised if you lost half your patients. Like, I would not be surprised one bit. I would expect it.
I expected that as well.
Yeah. So this is what I'm saying here. This is a risk mitigation strategy. Okay. Why not slowly transition it instead of just doing it all at one time? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, what if Blue Cross Blue Shield comes back and says, okay, you're right. Fee schedules have changed, blah, 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 blah. You are being reimbursed low, whatever, $60 for an under 214. We're going to bring you up to the market value of what they are now based off of, Medicare's fee schedule, whatever it is. And that goes up to 100. Is it not worth keeping those patients now that you've increased it to something that's a little bit more profitable? Because if you could increase your billings from $60 to $100, you just increased your revenue, your profit by a lot.
Yes, but still working at 20 patients a day.
Okay, right. So, okay, well, I guess, do you not want to see 20 patients a day anymore? You want to get out of that?
Heck no. I've got to decrease my stress and have some life back. I literally am working 12 hours a day between the patients I'm seeing at the office and the amount of time I'm spending at night charting. And it's ruining my whole attitude about being a nurse practitioner in the first place.
Gotcha. So it's ruining your life, basically. It's not.
I feel like it is.
Yeah. Okay. You just want out. You don't want to deal with this anymore.
I don't want to deal with the traditional aspect of it. I was really kind of hoping that by changing to DPC and having just those 600 patients for me and those 600 patients for my other provider, 1,200 patients, and I can actually, because I just got certified in functional medicine, like I want to get deep into people's things. I don't want to just run them through in a traditional style. I want to spend time with these people. I want to get down to root causes and all that. Okay. That's where my heart is anyway.
All right. So then this is what I say we do then. That suggestion that I told you, think about it. Okay. That's strictly from a revenue standpoint.
Sure.
Okay? If you want out, I don't blame you at all. Okay. I don't blame you one bit here. I don't blame you one bit. So you want out, get out. I say that follow through with your plan, send this letter to your patients. I'm not accepting insurance anymore. You want to go somewhere else, just let us know. We'll send your medical records to whoever you establish with, whatever it may be. This is the new model. This is what we're going to do. And you outline exactly what your strategy here is, what your membership structure is, all of that stuff. All right.
Yeah.
Do it. See what happens. You have 1,200 patients at your practice right now, correct? About 1,200?
Well, that's what my goal is for DPC. I'm seeing between 2,500 to 3,000 to 4,000 a year.
So your total patient census right now then is probably close to 5,000.
Probably active patients. They come and go, and I've been open for 16 years. I'm sure there's 10 to 20,000 that are in my repertoire, but I don't know how many are actually active. I'd say half of that.
Okay. So we're saying that there's about 5,000 active patients.
Probably, yeah.
Okay. Let's be conservative here. And let's say that 40% of those patients decide to go with you. That's 60% dropping off. I would say you need to go into this thinking very realistically. You're going to lose half your patients probably. Okay.
Sure.
So let's even be a little bit more aggressive here and say that you're going to lose 60%. All right.
Okay.
So you keep 40%. That's 2,000 patients. How much were you thinking about charging a month for the DPC, the direct primary care?
$79 a month for adults up to 64, and then $99 65 and up, and then
Okay.
$39 for kids.
Do you think that that is a fair price for your area and knowing your patients?
It's hard to know because I will be the only DPC clinic. I'm outside of Memphis. There is absolutely no DPC clinic anywhere in West Tennessee.
Okay. So from the demographics of your patients, you've had them for over a decade now. So
Yes.
out of those patients, I mean, do they have the financial wiggle room to pay you, 75, $80 a month, you think?
I would say so, yes, because
At least 40% of them.
Yes.
So then let's just meet in between here for the people that are over this age of 65 and blah, blah, blah. Let's just say you have an average monthly fee of $75. Is that fair?
Sure.
Okay. So if you have 2,000 patients and you're going to bill them $75 a month, your
Yes.
practice will make $150,000 a month.
Yes.
This seems like a no-brainer. Like, why are you dicking with insurance? Like,
That's what I'm saying, Justin,
Right,
because I just told you I'm bringing in 37 to 45,000 a month.
right,
This
right.
is like, really? This is a no-brainer. And I see so much less patients, and I can spend more time maybe giving Botox or whatever
Yeah.
heck I want to do.
Yeah. Screw that. Anyone listening to this, screw insurance. This is there's no way to live. Insurance is a scam and it steals the soul from the provider. No question about it.
Listen to him. He's right.
So yeah, when you have a DPC clinic like this, you can chart your way. There's no more of this, you have to have this many review assistants check mark. You don't have to have this medical decision-making process, blah, 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 blah. You chart how you want.
Right.
Like
Right.
sometimes at my men's health clinic, my chart sometimes is like 4 sentences
Nice.
because nothing else is relevant to me. Doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't even know what that feels like.
Oh, it's
I
great.
wouldn't.
It's great. It literally takes me 1 minute to finish some of my charts at my men's health clinic.
That's awesome.
Right. No one's auditing these. No insurance company's looking over my back. It's great. John Smith called, says that he has a red lump at his injection site, consistent with an abscess. Doxycycline called in. That's literally my note.
Nice.
What else do I need to document? What else is relevant? All right. I hope everyone's enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to take a quick break to thank everyone listening and also give a big thank you to all of my social media followers and email subscribers. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to our email list at www.elitenp.com and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Email subscribers will receive updates on new weekly podcast episodes, multiple weekly articles we publish, new courses, and everything else related to helping you succeed. Remember, all Elite Nurse Practitioner courses are designed to help you build a niche practice, increase your financial strength, and to break free from the rat race. If I can break free and that other countless nurse practitioners can break free, then so can you. Additionally, please share this podcast with your other nurse practitioner sisters and brothers out there. The more NPs that venture out on their own, the stronger our profession will become. Now, let's get back to the episode.
Do these DPC clinics, do they really give their personal cell phone to these patients, or do they have a whole nother cell phone and they call that,
Oh, no. You're going to have to have a second phone line. You're going to need to have
Okay.
you're going to need to have an app on your phone installed, like Sideline, something like that for a second
Okay.
phone line.
All right,
Now-
so I'll do that.
Yeah. If you're making this kind of money, you can easily afford paying for that other nurse practitioner. No question about it.
Yeah,
right?
because she's making, I would like to be able to pay her what would be a decent salary for a nurse practitioner. And right now she's kind of taking what I can afford, and she's worth more than that. So it'll be
Of course.
nice to be able to give her a little bit more.
Of course. $150,000 a month, that's real money. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's real money.
That's
Like,
1.8 million a year.
correct. And you're talking about now you're getting rid of your biller. Now you're getting rid of all of this
Right.
overhead that comes with an insurance practice. So not only are you
Yes.
increasing your revenue, you're decreasing your expenses at the same time. Therefore, you're going to make more money, right?
Yes.
Beautiful thing. Like, what EMR are you using right now?
So we just switched to eClinical Works from
Okay.
Cario. That was the best decision I ever made.
Do you have any idea how much it's going to be if you're just running like a cash-based practice?
No, I don't. My current office manager is working at negotiating a lower price. Oh, and I live in a state that has a collaborating physician that I have
Right.
to have a collaborating physician too. So I'm kind of hoping that I'll be able to reduce the fee that she's charging me since she's only going to be responsible for 2,000 total patients,
Right.
hoping that it'll be less.
Right. How much are you
So
paying right
there's a
now for that?
lot. I'm paying her, me and my other nurse practitioner both work 4 days a week. So she charges me $800 a month per provider. So 1,600.
It's not that unreasonable. I mean, that's not that bad.
No,
You
no,
know,
I
I mean,
recognize that I'm getting a good
yeah,
deal.
that's honestly, that's not that bad. All right. That's really not that bad. I mean, average, you're looking anywhere between 500 to $1,000 average, you know.
Yeah,
So that's really not that bad, especially for a higher volume practice. So, you might be able to knock off maybe a couple $100 from that, maybe. Okay.
sure.
Yeah. ECW, the EMR, I know it's probably a little bit more on the expensive side. So you really need
Oh,
to, do you really need it? It's up to you.
yeah, that's a question I have. I mean, I've been on, the Facebook page and I just, so many people will offer their opinion about do this EMR, this one's free or use this and it gets overwhelming. And so I just didn't really make a decision on what to do about that.
Listen, at the end of the day, an EMR is an EMR, especially for a cash based practice. Okay. As long as you can write a note into it, send an e-prescription, look at some labs, so pretty much all you need, right?
Okay.
If you're not billing insurance, you're not even going to use half the functions of the EMR.
Right.
So,
Right.
like with a practice like this, if ECW is charging you, I mean, you're paying $500 a month plus for that, I'm sure.
It's about 1,400 a month
Oh,
but
gee.
yeah,
Oh, God. Oh,
I
gee.
know.
You're making me
I'm being
nauseous.
nickel and dime to death.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Oh, yeah. Ugh. Cut that shit. Cut it. OptiMontra's $100.
Wait, what? I need to write that down.
People that are listening to this right now, if you are spending more than a couple $100 a month on an EMR, just stop. It is a ripoff. Like
Yeah.
being ripped
You said
off.
Opti what?
OptiMantra.
Okay.
Yeah, if you go to the Elite MP website, click the link at the top. It says Elite MP GPO. They're our preferred vendor for EMRs.
Oh, okay.
It's $100 a month. Like, you know how much I pay for my EMR? $60 per provider.
And it works just fine. You have all those other capabilities.
My men's health practice makes $80,000 a month. It works just fine.
Bone saw.
If I had another EMR, guess how much money I'd still be making? $80,000 a month. Okay.
Preach, brother. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. It's not going to make a difference. Like it doesn't change anything, like seriously cut it. You don't need that. You need to be asking yourself here, what value are you getting out of whatever it is that you're paying for? Like, is it generating income in your practice? If it's not generating income in your business, cut it. It's a waste of money. What are you spending money on? Like, you don't need it. You know what I mean? Like spending
Right.
money on things in your business, it should provide a return on investment for the most part. Yes, there's some things that you need, like insurance, malpractice insurance. There's no return on investment there. Your EMR, there's really not a return on investment there. But if you can get that stuff affordably, it is a return on investment compared to what you're paying now.
Right.
You and your office manager need to sit down. You need to take out your profit and loss statement, your expenses, your monthly expenses sheet. You need to go through that and you need to detail each point of what it is that you're spending on a monthly basis, your credit card bill, basically. And you need to look at what the hell is this? $1,400 a month for an EMR? Absolutely not. We need to shop around. You could do paper charts if you wanted to.
I love paper charts.
Yeah, I do too. I still use paper charts at my medical cannabis clinic. Why would I use anything else? Like,
Exactly.
if this is a DPC cash-based practice, you can do paper charts if you want. There's no
I'll
regulation.
consider it.
Okay.
Right.
Guess
Well,
what?
but what about when I'm referring to other specialists and all that kind of stuff? Don't they need it to be a little bit more specific? My notes.
No
Okay.
cares.
I don't know because, I'm brainwashed into this traditional model. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really know what it looks like to have this membership based clinic and then refer somebody for a freaking CAT scan or whatever. What does that even look like? Because right now I have to finish this huge note and all that. And then they have to make sure that the insurance will cover their CAT scan or their MRI or whatever the heck it is. I don't know what it looks like when I don't.
You're still probably going to have to do some pre-authorizations for, radiology and stuff. Like if they want to use their insurance for that kind of a thing, you're probably still going to have to do that. But if it's a paper chart, you just send the paper chart. You just send your notes. Like they're not going to sit there and look at it with a magnifying glass and be like, oh, dear Lord, this is not Medicare compliant chart. They don't care about that. They just want to make sure the medical justification's there.
Sure.
Like that doesn't matter. So don't worry too much about it. Like, don't worry about that. And when the time comes, you worry about it, And another thing too, with the DPC practice, if you have cash-based patients, a lot of times they have this super high deductible. So they're not even, their insurance isn't even going to pay for the CT scan or the MRI anyways. You know what I mean? Like
I'm trying to get cash prices on all that stuff. And I was really kind of hoping I'd get a discount, but they're acting crazy about it. So.
Really? No, most imaging centers should have cash pay rates established already.
I mean, they do, but I really wanted them to discount an additional 10% off their cash price. Yeah. So it would be an incentive to my patients.
Right. No, they don't care. An MRI, they're going to charge the patient out of pocket if they have insurance $1,200, and then they're going to charge the insurance another $3,000 or $4,000 or whatever. It's amazing when you tell them that the patient doesn't have insurance and that you need a cash pay rate. They're like, oh, it's $400 with the radiology read. Oh, right. Really? Wow.
It's ridiculous.
Isn't that crazy? Yep. Like, honestly, I pay cash for everything personally anymore. And most of my patients do too. I'm like, you can use your insurance. It's going to cost you more though. It's a total scam. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that. The $75 a month, I think, is reasonable. If you can have 40% of your patients, you're going to start making money. I'm just going to give you a little bit of a warning. The next 3 or 4 months for you is going to be shaky. It's going to be stressful. There's a very, very steep hill here you're going to have to climb because you're going to a lot of patients are going to complain. Your staff, this is all a new system and so forth and so forth. So just make sure that, you have the backbone for it. It sounds like you do. I mean, you've been dealing with this shit for years anyway, so.
Oh, well, I'm very non-confrontational and I get my feelings hurt very easily. So my husband said I am not allowed on Facebook as soon as these letters go out.
Fair enough. Okay.
Right. Because I know there's going to be hate because I understand people are going to be upset because some of these people I've seen for 16 years. I mean, I've watched them grow up. I've had patients that now have their own kids and I see those kids. I mean, it's crazy how 16 years has passed in the blink of an eye. And, some of these people are just not going to see the value of $79.
In that letter, you need to just write straight out on it why it is that you're doing it. And you need to I would be perfectly honest with you. Be like, I can't do this anymore. I haven't paid myself anything in 2 years because you really haven't when you factor in all this debt and everything.
Right.
Like you need to be heartfelt honest here. And if the patients truly like you and they value what it is that you provide, they will come with you.
Yeah.
So just if I was you, I would be blatantly honest on what it is that you're doing in that letter because people are going to call and they're going to ask why. Well, you know what? That first paragraph in that letter should explain the why.
Exactly. And I certainly don't mind blaming insurance all the way around because really at the end of the day, that is the problem. That has become my main issue. Like I know that my office manager did some shenanigans that kind of set me back some, but at the end of the day, it hasn't been healthy in years. Right. And I've just been skating by being okay with, I've never paid myself more than $72,000 a year. And I've just been content with that. But really, I don't want to be content with that. I want to be able to go on a really nice vacation, not just keep going down to Gulf Shores, Alabama every time I need to go on a vacation.
Right.
Nothing against Gulf Shores. I love Gulf Shores.
Yeah.
That's the only place I can afford to go.
Right. No, it's time for you to start enjoying life. So we've gotten all that out of the way. Specific questions. Let's go ahead and start hammering out some specific questions that you might have.
Okay. Can I turn it on to the aesthetic side for just a second? Because I did have a specific question about, so I am the only provider RN, anybody in the office that knows how to do the dermal filler and the Botox, but it's been 6 years since I actually learned how to do the Botox and the dermal filler. And I have actually to date never given anyone dermal filler since I got trained in it. So I'm only giving Botox, and it's hit or miss because I'm seeing 20 patients on my traditional medical side, and I can't open my schedule up to allow growth for my aesthetics side to get Botox patients. And I put an ad out trying to find an injector nurse that would come in. And I want someone that didn't just learn how to do it. I wanted someone that would bring their clientele, and I couldn't find anybody. So I'm kind of stuck on what to do about that because I don't want to be the everything for both sides.
Right. Well, the aesthetics industry is pretty cutthroat. So people are not going to bring their customers to you and give them a cut. That's not a blanket statement, but it's a pretty accurate statement. It's very, very cutthroat industry. So, you really need to just focus in on building this up yourself. If it's something that you actually enjoy doing.
Yeah.
So I think that moving forward here, the best thing that you could probably do is, tell yourself, hey, I want to start building up this aesthetics wellness side of my practice. So Thursdays or Mondays or Fridays or whatever day it is out of the week, that's the day that you do that. Okay.
So what if I have patients that want to do Botox and they can't do that day, but that's the day that I'm like,
well, you can make an exception here or there, but like just try to make it that day. Like that's the day you do it. You know what I mean?
sure.
Like, yeah, like I had to have some dental work done. I've had like a couple of veneers put on, and like he was like, we only do this on Wednesday mornings. Well, you know what? I made it work.
Right.
So anyways, yeah, that's what I would do. Just try to make this a little bit more structured so you're not so scattered all over the place. You know what I mean? Like your
Sure.
DPC is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and your aesthetics is, Tuesdays or whatever, and Thursdays are off, or, whatever it is that you want to do, or take Mondays off and then scatter it throughout the week. With a DPC practice, though, you're going to have to be very flexible anyways, because the whole point is that they can see you as needed. So even on that aesthetics day, if someone needs to be seen, you're going to have to try to get try to fit them in.
Okay.
And the beautiful thing about this too is that you can do a lot of this telemed.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, you don't have to see them. It can be a phone call. Yeah, what's going on? Yeah, okay. You've had this for 14 days. It sounds like a sinus infection. We're gonna call some augment. All right, yeah. Let me know how it's going in 3 days. Boom, you're done.
Right. That's all I want it to be.
Right. That's how it should be. Medicine shouldn't be complicated. Shouldn't be.
Yeah.
There was an old country doc one time that I knew. Old school country doctor from Tennessee, and his medical charts were on like a Rolodex. It was like just this like little box with little postcards. You know what I mean?
Yes, the index cards.
Index card. That guy.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah.
You got this, Justin. You got this.
I haven't thought about an index card in years,
Right.
Anyways, it was index cards. And at the top was literally the patient's name written and like numbers and like a date on the visit. It was just like sinusitis, amoxicillin called in. Number 2, hypertension, 150 over blah, 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 increased lisinopril. Like that was his chart. Like,
wow.
Guess what? It worked back then. Like, why can't that still work today?
Yeah.
So
bringing those good old days right back to 2023, baby.
Right. It's good for the soul, honestly, So yeah, you could do that as a DPC practice, as a cash-based practice.
That's what I'm going to do to sell people on it. I'm being like, you people are trying to reach out to me through my cell phone, my email, and my Facebook and all that anyway. Now I'm going to let you actually do it. You just got to pay me $79 a month.
Right, exactly. Let's say you have 2,000 patients and you're making $150,000, a month. It would even be worth paying an RN to be a triage for you with standing orders and protocols that they can follow. You know what I mean? Just to kind of.
I don't think that'll upset the patients that think they're just going to get straight to me every time.
For very basic stuff, I don't think so.
Okay.
Because the RN can triage it to you and then the antibiotic can be called in or whatever.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, let's just say, for example, Joe Smith calls and he has textbook strep throat or whatever. The RN messages you, that sounds like strep throat, call in, 5 days of septine or whatever for him. For you, it took a whole whopping 10 seconds.
Right.
But the RN triaged. This happens in
like
the ER. This happens other places. You can do it too.
Yeah, I like that idea. That's good.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, if you got busy enough, you could do that. you and that other nurse practitioner should be able to handle it right now. But if that time came, that would be an option for you to do.
Sure. You've really given me so much good advice, and I just gonna take to heart everything you said and just go from there and just take one day at a time,
Perfect. Yeah, no, I think it's a great idea. Yeah, just do it. Do it.
I will, man. Thank you so much.
No,
Thanks for being willing to even talk to me about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, listen,
I
keep me up
feel
to
like
date.
I'm a catastrophe.
Well, just keep me up to date with how it's going. And I think it's a good thing. I really, really do.
Yeah, I think this is definitely, I have so much peace about it. I feel like there's going to be a good response. I've got a lot of small businesses in the community. I'm going to hit up employers and see if I can help out employers that can't afford to have insurance for their employees. So there's a lot of things that I'm really spinning my head around to see how it could turn around and benefit us.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. All right. Well, listen, if you have any other questions or anything, reach out to me. And I think that, I really want an update.
All right. I'll let you know how it goes. Give me about 3 months and I'll tell you if my hair's thin or if I'm laying at the beach in Hawaii.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan. I think you'll probably be able to get there at some point. I really do. So,
Thank you. Thank you, Justin.
All right. Keep us up to date. Okay.
All right, bud. You take care. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye. All right. I hope everyone enjoyed the episode with Amanda. A lot of golden nuggets in this one. I always make sure you're staying on top of your finances, guys. Always. Do not give someone the power of your financial well-being. Don't give that over to anyone else, okay? Don't give that power over to anyone else, especially in your business. If you have a practice manager who has access to all of your accounts and you put them in charge of paying bills and all this sort of thing, you better make sure as the business owner that you are staying on top of it. How many other podcast episodes have we had where you've heard similar stories, okay? These things happen, right? It's very, very unfortunate, but they do happen. Another big point here is insurance versus cash. It can be very difficult to turn a profit with an insurance accepting practice, especially when you are being reimbursed at very low rates like Amanda is. I'm sure she could renegotiate those rates if she wanted to, but she just doesn't want to. She is sick of dealing with insurance, and I don't blame her. It is an absolute headache. So by simply converting over to a direct primary care model where patients are paying, her a monthly subscription-based fee, $75, $80 a month, not only is she going to be making more money, but she's also going to decrease her workload and decrease her stress levels. Like, it's a win-win. She's going to decrease her stress and she's going to make more money, okay? So if anyone's on the fence about opening a cash-based practice, don't be on the fence about it. It can be profitable and it is greener on the other side. It just really is. All right. Hope everyone enjoyed this episode. Talk to you guys later. Thanks. Bye. Thank you for listening to the show. Quick legal disclaimer. The content of this podcast is meant for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be used as legal, financial, medical, regulatory, or practice-specific advice. For information pertaining to your specific legal, financial, medical, or practice-specific needs, please be sure to consult with your lawyer, CPA, medical director, and/or your state's practice laws and the most up-to-date clinical guidelines. As always, do your due diligence when it comes to any information found online and in podcasts. The content in this podcast is copyrighted by Galaxy Medical Southwest 2023 and cannot be duplicated, rebroadcasted, or reproduced without our written permission.